Some of you know recently I had surgery on my shoulder here to correct a problem with my rotator cuff. And that means for the next 3 months I'm really not going to be able to exercise until it repairs itself. Now that's a problem because I do gain weight very quickly. As you can see, I'm not the most svelte of people. But one of the things that was recommended to me was to not go crazy, not suddenly, start buying diet pills or anything like that. But one of the things they did say is find something that will help suppress your appetite, because when you're not active, you're tempted to just sort of pop into the fridge and grab something to eat. So one thing that was recommended to me is this, called Huel. I've been trying it for a few days. It's a meal replacement. It's completely vegetarian. It's supposed to be a very healthy, balanced diet for you. And I should say, this is not a paid endorsement. This is not me recommending it to anybody. It's just something that was recommended to me to try. So once it's all in the container, we just give it a good shake for about 10 seconds. It looks kind of weird. You get these little red dots, but apparently that's quite normal. It's part of the ingredients. Now, I'll warn you, it does not look the most appetizing. It's kind of like a brown gunk. But it does taste okay. Or it tastes reasonable, should I say. Just grab a glass from there. And we pour it out. Okay, that's breakfast, if that's what you can call it, over. It's not the most appetizing, but it probably does what it's supposed to, so we'll see how long it keeps my appetite down. I do feel pretty full. In fact, I feel like I've had a full meal. So I'll let you know. My reward for having a healthy, in inverted commas, breakfast. Double espresso. Lovely. So being a technology geek at heart, one of the things that I like to do is test and look at and play with new technology. And as I'm building these vlogs, one of the things I'm starting to look at is new pieces of technology that will make this a better experience for you and also interesting for me to play with. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at 4 different types of microphones that you can use for this kind of production. Now these are relatively low cost. They're certainly under a couple of £100, and they all have very different characteristics and all have very different use cases. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch between the 4 mics. I'm going to let you hear them. I'll explain what each microphone is and what it's used for, and I'll let you be the judge. So let's look at microphones. So this microphone that we're using at the moment is the Rode Video Microphone Pro. This is a microphone that's designed to sit on top of your camera. You can see up in the little inset picture there a picture of the microphone. It comes on a nice shock mount, so if you are out in the street and you're moving around, it isolates and dampens a lot of the movement of the microphone. The microphone plugs into the camera using a standard 3.5mm jack, and is powered by a battery, so you'll need a 9-volt battery to run that. It is a condenser mic, and it also is very directional, so it's very, very good if you're doing a piece of the camera. It will pick you up nicely, but also it'll take away a lot of the audio that's coming in from the sides. So that's the Rode Video Mic Pro. We're just going to now switch across to the next microphone. So this is the mic that's built into the Sony camera itself. It's positioned just above the lens. It is semi-directional. It does pick up a lot of audio from around the outside, unlike the Rode microphone that I just showed you a moment ago. It's a microphone that is just sitting on top of the camera. There are no controls over it. Basically, you get what you get from it. But for most people, and certainly in a quiet environment like this is more than enough. This is good enough. And most people will use the microphone that's built into the camera by default. Okay, this is the Rode lavalier microphone. This is also, some people call them button microphones or just a lav. This is obviously a discrete microphone that's designed to clip onto your clothing and take the audio directly from close in and around when you're talking. It is wired. As you can see the wire running down the front here. Normally you'd sort of put this inside your clothing. and then it's run up to the camera and it's connected directly into the 3.5mm jack on the camera. Now this particular Rode microphone uses a different type of cable called a Micon cable, different connectors. So it's just something you need to be aware on. If you want to plug it into a 3.5mm, you do need the Micon to 3.5mm adapter. But generally the audio from them is very, very good. They're used by a lot of professional organizations for interviews and sort of presenting, again, when you want to capture the audio close in, but you don't necessarily want a lot of external audio to be picked up. This final microphone is the cheapest no-name lavalier mic that I could find on Amazon. I think it cost all of about £7 or maybe just under $10. I couldn't tell you who made it. I probably couldn't find it again on Amazon. But it is just a standard 3.5mm connection on one end, microphone on the other. Came in a small bubble pack. I believe it was made by some Chinese manufacturer, but I might be wrong. But again, the reason for including this microphone isn't to recommend it, but it's so you can compare it to the Rode. You may actually say this is good enough, given this was, like I say, £7 to £10 or £7 to $10, and the Rode comes in at somewhere around about £150. So have a listen to the audio, see what you think. Now I'd just like to say, none of the microphones that I'm presented here have been sponsored by anybody. They've all been paid for. Nobody's given me any products for free. I'm just letting you hear them so you can make the decision of what you think is best. Normally when I'm outside, I would be using the Rode shotgun mic, purely because it's got a nice wind deflector and it's very, very directional. But sitting in the office, I might use a lavalier mic instead. Okay, so that's the 4 different microphones that we've tested today, and I'll let you be the judge. I think they all have very different uses. Obviously the microphone that's built into the camera, it's the same argument people say is what's the best type of camera, and they say, well, it's the camera you have with you. Well, the same for the microphone. If you don't have an external mic with you, the best microphone is the one that's built into the camera. However, a little bit of planning, the shotgun mic certainly is something that you can take with you. In fact, it pretty much stays bolted to my camera unless there's some reason I need to remove it. But you just have to be aware that it is battery powered. If you need to take it away and you're going to be away from power for a long time, or away from the stores where you can get a new battery, to pick up the spare 9-volt batteries with you. The lavalier mics, certainly if you're doing interviews, are very, very good, especially if you can record discrete channels using something like a Zoom 4 recorder, where you can actually record each individual participant on a separate channel. It gives you much better mixing abilities. So this concludes my inaugural product review. What I'll do is in about 3 months' time, I'll revisit this and give you a much more in-depth, because some of these microphones I've only had access to for a few days, and I really want to give them a good test. Certainly I want to get outside with them and start testing them out in the real world rather than in my nice little quiet office here. Have you subscribed yet?